Okay, today we're going to draw a vase of tulips for Mother's Day. So this will be a picture that you can give to your mom or your grandma or an aunt or someone in your life that you love and want to say thank you to. So I'm going to start with the vase. And so when I start with the vase, I like to start with, I'm going to start towards the bottom of my paper because I want this space up here for my flowers. So I'm going to start with one curve here and one curve here. This will be the sides of my vase. Okay, and I'll give you a second to kind of get your sides down there. Okay. All right. And then on the bottom, my vase is round on the bottom. So I'm going to put a little curved line in. All right, and you want your vase to be somewhat symmetrical, which means the left side should look similar to the right side. Okay. Now I'm just going to do one little line that goes like this. It comes and curves up. And vases can come in all different shapes and sizes. Oops, this one's taller than that one. Do you see how this one's taller? That's okay. I'll just erase it and try it again. Okay? But I want to kind of make them about the same. So a little curve on this side and a little curve on this side. And I'll give you a second to work on that. And then I'm going to do a line that goes across to make them touch, and that will be my base. All right, let's do that one more time. So I started off with a curve on this side, like a little round shape, the side of my vase. And then I'm going to go over a little bit and do it again on this side. Okay. Give everybody a second to work on that. And then I'm going to do a curve on the bottom. So that'll be the bottom of my vase. And then here at the top, I start and I'm going to make a line almost like a backwards C. Okay, that'll be for the top of my vase. And then I go and I do it again on this side. And then I do a line that goes across so that I have my vase. All right, everyone should have a vase. If you don't have a vase at this point, that's okay. Please raise your hand and I'll come around and take a look at it. Now I'm going to draw a nice horizontal line behind here. This will be my table. So my vase is sitting on the table. Okay. All right. Give everybody a second to work on your line. And then we're going to start with our tulips. Tulips are a beautiful flower that grow in the springtime, and I like to draw them because I think they're really pretty. I have a lot in my garden, and maybe you guys have seen some around in your garden, like in the yards or when you drive by. And so we're going to start with a tulip. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of space here so that I have room for the leaves and a couple others here. So I'm going to start right here with a nice U shape. So please draw a good U on your paper right there. All right, and then tulips have kind of petals that overlap. They fold on top of each other, okay? So I'm going to start with a nice curve that goes up and a curve that goes up and then a little curve that goes on the top. And these can be bigger or smaller. Different tulips look differently, but I put one big petal right there in the middle. Now I'm going to take this petal and I'm going to curve it around to come back and touch that one. And this one is going to curve to touch that one. And then I'm going to draw one more petal behind so it overlaps. Okay? So I drew one more curve. And if you didn't get it this time, that's okay. There you have a sheet, but we'll also do it a couple more times. All right, let's do it again. Ready? Do a nice U shape. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw my petal in the middle. So I draw one line that goes up and curves back around. And this one can take a little practice, so if you need to erase it and try it again, that's okay. Then I take this petal and I curve it back till it touches the middle one. I'm going to do that again, curve it up and around till it touches the middle one. And then I can put in one petal behind it. Okay, I'm going to do it again over here. Now this one I'm going to have bent a little bit. Sometimes the tulips kind of get a little bendy. So I'm going to draw a U that's a little bit curved this time. Do you see how it's not totally straight? And then I'm going to go ahead, when you get your U, I'm going to put a petal in the middle. And I'm going to come through and make this petal touch here, this petal touch here, and I'll do a petal behind. I'm going to do maybe a couple more. I'm going to put a petal here, big U to start with. I like to have a lot of tulips in my vase. And then I'm going to draw that big oval shape in the middle. I'm going to do one petal on this side, one petal on this side, and a petal for the back. Let's do it a couple more times, okay? Nice big U. Nice petal shape right there, petal in the middle first, one on this side, one on this side, one in the back. Do one more here, and then I think I'll do a couple buds. Buds are the tulips that are closed up that haven't opened yet. So maybe one more right, gotta find a good spot for it, maybe right here. U, always start with your U. And a nice petal in the middle. And then this petal's gonna touch this one. This petal's gonna touch this one. And I'm gonna put one more behind. And then I think I'll do a couple buds, and those buds are those ones that haven't totally opened yet. So I'll do one here, and the buds kind of look like little raindrops, I guess, except they're curved at the ends. They look like they're like an oval that's wider at the bottom and skinnier at the top. And I'll do one more maybe here. And if you want, you can do a couple lines on these guys. I'm going to put some lines on these petals too. I'm going to put a line here and a line there, line here, line there. Tulips have lots of little lines on them. So putting some lines in will give you a little bit more detail. And you just want to have them kind of curve up. They're not straight verticals, they just sort of curve a little bit. Okay, make sure you have enough petals that your vase looks pretty full. And then we'll start to put in our stems and our leaves. Okay, for the stems and leaves, I want to think about the petals that are closest to me. So this one's going to be really close. So I'm going to draw one line, two line right there. And then I'm going to work on this one. One line, two line. They're a little bit wider underneath than they are here. One line, two lines. So I'm starting on the ones on the bottom, and then I'll go to the ones behind it, because I'm thinking really about overlapping, which tulips are going to be closer to me and which are going to be farther away. See, like this one, it runs into this tulip. So I'm going to see this side, but I'm not going to see all of that side. So think carefully about where they should go. Okay, so this one, oh, and when it runs into this one, it's going to go to behind. So I'm just going to take my pencil and kind of all right, to about there. All right, and then I'm going to do it again on this side. And then I'm going to kind of think about where it would go, but not actually draw it until it gets there. Okay, all right. One line, think about where it goes, probably to about there. It's going to go behind that one to about there. And it's going to come out somewhere down there. And I just have one more. And this one I'm just going to kind of like go back there. All right. And then I can do some tulip leaves. Now the leaves are really, when they're pointed up, like they're big curved lines with kind of points on them. So let's do one of those. I'm going to do it back here behind this one. So I'm going to do a nice long kind of curved line. And then I'm going to do a vertical line that goes down in the middle. And then I'm going to do one more there. Okay. Let's do another one. Curved line. This ends in a point. Think about where it goes. And do another one. And I'll just do a couple more of these. And with these, I'm really just thinking about overlapping. Which one is in front, which one is behind. And I'm going to keep putting my petals in. Keep putting my petals in until I kind of run out of room. Petals for tulips will also fold sometimes. So if you flip your paper over, you can see that it kind of folds right here. See this one that folds? So I might do this one here. I'm going to go one line up, and then it has a curved line right there, like a little curved line, and then it goes down. And then I can erase it here. So if you want to do a couple of those, you can. It'll make it look, you want a couple petals to kind of come out like that, or just a couple little V's back here. But add some petals. If you want some help with this, let me know. I'll help you add a couple petals in there. This is looking really full though. I think mine is done. That looks, if I put much more in, I'm gonna be confused. All right. If you want this to be a Mother's Day present, I'm gonna write Happy Mother's Day, MOTHER''S, Mother's Day. And you could write more if you wanted to. You could write like, I love you, Mom, or I love you, Grandma, or I love you, Atia, you know, whatever you wanted. And then, right, I'm going to write love, and then you can write your name here. So I can write Mrs. Burley. Okay, and then from there we're going to get out our colored pencils. And tulips can come in lots of different colors. They can come in reds or pinks or yellows or white or maybe lots of different colors. I've seen some that are like almost kind of magenta or purpley. Let's see if I have good color pencil here. I have a pink. Okay, so let me, so let's take a look. I'm going to start with this one. And what I'm going to do first is with colored pencil, I can really get a good color by pressing hard. So I'm going to press hard and kind of trace here to start off with. Okay, so I pressed really hard on that. Now if I press lightly, I'm kind of pressing lightly and coloring in, but kind of also following my direction here. I get a nice solid color. I'm going to try that again on here. Now inside the tulip, it's going to have a little shade. It's going to be a little darker. So I'm going to press not quite as hard as I did on the outside, but a little bit harder to give it a little bit of shadow. And that'll make this one look like it's a little more 3D. I can also think about where your shading would be. I can do a little bit of darkness where they overlap here, because there would be a little bit of shading in there. And that's going to make your petals look a little bit more 3D. So when I'm working on these, I like to kind of outline first to make sure that I have a nice strong color. And then from there, I'm just going to real lightly go in, and I'm going to press so much lighter. Because when I'm working with colored pencil, how hard I press will give me the value. Value is how light or dark one is. And then I can press a little bit harder on the inside if I want to show that shadow. And I can add a little bit of shading on this petal, kind of where these two overlap is where my shadow is going to be. And right here where these two overlap, and then maybe a little bit on the bottom here where they overlap to give it a nice little bit of shading. And these are going to make my tulips look so much more interesting. Right? This one I can just sort of shade in, just real gently pressing. Okay? But you could do your tulips whatever colors you want. I just picked pink because, I don't know, I think it's kind of pretty, but whatever color you think the person you love would like, your mom or your grandma or your aunt or whoever you would like to give, even someone like a babysitter or someone who watches you would probably like one of these. A nice picture. So I press lightly when I want it to be light, and I press darker when I want it to be dark. And then you're just going to keep kind of going with that. And I can do the same thing with my greens here. Kind of outline a little bit here, and then color lightly on the inside. I can always put more shadow in. I'm going to do that on this leaf here, right? Kind of outline, and then shade in lightly. And down here it's going to be darker, right? It'll be darker inside of here because there's a shadow. So I can press a little bit harder. You can use different colors if you want. Like sometimes I see people get a magenta or like a dark purple and a light purple to color their flowers, which you totally can do. But you don't have to. You can use just one color if you want, and then just vary how hard you press. So in here I traced my leaf here, and now I'm just going to real lightly color it in. And anywhere that I think would be a shadow, like do I think this tulip would make a shadow on this leaf? I do. So I'm going to color just a little bit around that edge to give it a little bit of a shadow. So think about where would I see a little bit of shading, and press a little bit darker after you put your light color in. Okay, and then we'll color our tulips and our stems and our leaves, and you can color your vase and your words and your table and even the wall if you want, but you don't have to do the wall. If you do the tulips and the vase and do a little on the table, that should be plenty. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I can't wait to see your guys' all done. They're going to be beautiful.